Hello, everyone. Thank you for your patience. We had to, oh, am I? Oh no, did I not?
Hello.
Just give
How-
us one moment,
No,
please.
you're fine. I got on early just because I don't want to be late.
Okay, here we go. Hello, all. Thank you for your patience in, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you
Okay,
fine. Yes.
great. I wasn't seeing the little microphone move and I was suddenly worried I wasn't coming through. Okay, we're just facing a bunch of just fun little tech things this morning or this afternoon. Just give me one moment.
Now you see why I wanted to get on with you early to make sure my tech would work.
Yeah, and this one isn't
I
even on you. This one's on
no,
me.
I know the feeling.
We were doing double duty today with back-to-back webinars, and so we were making sure our the prior webinar was finished, so we didn't accidentally kick folks off. But then it had me start a practice webinar, which isn't usually what happens. So I had to get through there. Okay, we're gonna give folks just another minute or so to come on. And just see if anyone's emailing us about any trouble getting in. But I appreciate all of you who were here on time and very much looking forward to our Be Informed session today. As folks come in, I will go through some of our usual housekeeping. Just give me one moment. Okay. So if you are, so this is done in webinar format, so all of the attendees will be on mute, but we do highly encourage you all to engage with us via chat. So please drop in your name, organization, preferred pronouns, and anything else you want to tell us. I'm Frank Hood. I go by he, him. I use he, him pronouns, and I'm the director of Hep B United. Additionally, we will have a Q&A session at the end of our two sets of speakers. So please do drop your questions into the chat or the Q&A box and do it as you think of them. One, so you don't forget, and two, because we might be able to answer them in text or live as we proceed through the program. So no need to wait all the way till the end. And if this is the first time you've been to a Be Informed session, I just want to take a moment to let you know who we are at Hep B United that are hosting this. So we are a coalition of coalitions that has been around since 2012. We are co-chaired by the Hepatitis B Foundation and APCHO, which is the American Association of Pacific Community Health Organizations, AAPCHO. Really as a coalition for folks who are working on hepatitis B to come together and share best practices, as well as how they are overcoming barriers. So we have more than 50 local or actually now we're at more than 60 local and national partners across 38 cities and 28 states and DC. And we really do this by working with folks kind of where they are in their journey. So many of our partners aren't solely focused on hepatitis B. They're in fact looking at a variety of hepatitis as well as potentially STIs or other health conditions that are impacting their jurisdiction. So this Be Informed session is one of the programming offerings that we have here at Hep B United. This program started in 2023, coming out of the Foundation's Echo series. Folks really liked the Echo series, but wanted something a little bit more geared towards public health and community organizations and things that weren't as kind of case specific in terms of like a patient case. So we do try to look at, we have this every other month on the third Tuesday at 3, so that's right now. We really do have gone through a variety of topics. We've talked about epidemiology, we've talked about surveillance, we've also talked about grant making. And one of the areas our partners have really said there's a need, especially this year, is around fundraising. So I'm very excited about today's session. Here is the schedule, although this is, we're pretty loose. So this first 5 minutes or so is really just going through what I've just gone through. We'll dive into our speakers, and then following that, we'll go into our kind of case study or our second speaker. And then with the remaining time, we'll go for Q&A and open discussion. Like I said, this is sort of just a guide. Today, though, I am super excited to be hosting a session on behind the scenes of successful fundraisers. Like I said, this is sort of fundraising and friend raising is something that has been asked about in the Hep B United Partner Survey. And back in May, the Hepatitis B Initiative, formerly known as HBIDC, hosted a small event. And like for the first time, it was the first time they were doing an event like this. And I had the luxury of being able to attend in person. And it was a great event, but it was also one of those things that seemed achievable for many of our partners. So reached out to Sandra, and so glad that they agreed to come on and talk about not only an event like that, but some of the other events you can do as a community-based organization like HBI is. I also know that many folks have aspirations or potentially a longer-term goal of doing bigger kind of seated, plated galas that are fancy and swanky. And so I'm thrilled to have my colleague Mara Delaney on as our sort of case study to talk about really the work that goes into one of those big fancy galas, because the foundation does have one each year. But as someone who's now volunteered with that group to put it on for the last 3 years, I can tell you it is a all hands on deck effort. And maybe a heavier lift than folks realize. So we're going to have Mara kind of give us a peek behind the scenes to not scare you all off, but just to better prepare you for the lift that is a big gala like that. So with that though, I am thrilled to turn it over to Sandra Ashford and Heidi Denny from Hepatitis B Initiative. Let me stop sharing my screen. And Heidi, you should be able to share yours.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Sandra, take it away.
Hi, everybody. So as Frank said, my name is Sandra Ashford. I'm the CEO of the Health Betterment Initiative, HBI, and we are also known as the Hepatitis B Initiative. We actually evolved our name because we take viral hepatitis in a syndemic approach, doing not only Hep B, but Hep C, HIV, syphilis, and at times TB, but we also do chronic disease testing as well. So it encompasses everything. And it's just to raise awareness to immigrant populations, but we also work with the PWID and substance abuse rehabilitation community and unhoused community as well. So today we're happy to present how we got to our raffle auction dinner. And so I'm here joined by Ms. Heidi Denny, our fundraising coordinator. And this is sustainable fundraising. Somebody's for small nonprofits. Next slide, please. Okay, so everybody knows, like, I've been in this role for about 2 years. So when I came on to HBI, they really didn't have that fundraising arm that I'm talking about, maybe the car washes, the auction dinners. They had one, but in this time and for a nonprofit, you really need to build an arm in that too, because yes, we all need grants. We are all lucky and fortunate to get grants from like the Hep B Foundation or from DC Health or from the state of Maryland, but you can't always count on those grants because you never know. As we see today, funding is getting cut for important programs. So we have to try to build little by little so that we can continue to provide that support that we need in the community. So what do? You have to start with the right foundation. So that is an active and mission-driven board. So that is so important. Lucky we have, as I came in 2 years, I was fortunate to have the previous president step in and stay with me while I took on the role. And now we have a new president coming in, and a new board, and they believe in the mission, and they were phenomenal in getting sponsorships for our auction dinner and also for our 5K. But most importantly, the CEO and the leadership team is very important to this as well, because in order to get people to sponsor your dinner or sponsor your small initiative, they have to believe in what you're doing. And if they don't really understand what you're doing, that's where you have to get in, like speak to them, tell them about your everyday. For example, I just sent them a great story from one of our community health workers that an individual found out they had HIV. They were shocked. They took them to the clinic. They're getting treated at Nova Salud. And I shared that with one of the foundation, our project officer. So it's like sharing those stories are important too as a CEO, so that I know what's happening in the community. I actually go out to the community, I work there, and so they see that this isn't like a third-hand knowledge, but also what are you funding me? Why are you giving me money? Why do I want to support your dinner? What are you guys doing? That helps. So that's why it helps to translate your work to funders in the community. Next slide. Okay, so basically after doing the auction, what we realized our focus is when we had to start up with the 5K and the raffle dinner is try to avoid the high cost galas. We don't have the money. If we had 15,000, we'd be spending it in the community, not on a dinner. So I'm sure a lot of the people on the call feel that way. We want, if somebody's gonna do a gala, make sure that somebody else is paying for the food and the place and the entertainment. And so you wanna make your, you know, these like dinners or raffles or runs repeatable and scalable, meaning less must, but more profit for the community. So you don't want to spend a lot. You want to make sure that you're, you know, spending a little bit, but making more, but that like a 5K is something that's got a punch. And that's something that'll, you know, that can continue on every year. And we're like entering our third year of the 5K. You only also want to invest in social media. I mean, it's free, and you want to be able to tell the story of your organization so that people believe, because sometimes it's like you can have somebody in California hear a story about somebody that just found out they had hepatitis B and they think their world is over. But a CHW just made that, you know, came in, spoke to them, took them to the clinic, made them feel like it's not over. And somebody from California can be touched by that and want to invest in your 5K fun run. So what you think people want to know about, they don't estimate, just tell them from the heart and let your social media do that, because that's going to actually get more donors for your dinner and any fundraisers that you want to have. And make sure you have the capacity. So some people may not be able to have the fund development coordinator or a fundraising coordinator like we have with Heidi, but make sure that when you're having something, you have the capacity to see it through, and volunteers too. So basically fundraisers, like I said, with a low overhead and high return. So for our annual 5K fun run in Georgetown, it costs, with the t-shirts, the medals, the porta potties, the people along the route, $5,000, the whole thing. And our goal is to always make between 10 and 20. And we've been making a profit these past 2 years. So that is something that we're going to keep, because Bishop Events, who we work with, does the whole thing. We just have to show up, and we do like fun things. Like last year was international night, like an international run. We have dancers, we have performers. The year before was Zumba, and it was great because like people were dancing and they're running. So it was a great day. And then after a few hours, it was done and we made a profit. People knew more about HBI. We had people even from LinkedIn form little teams and participate, which we didn't know about till afterwards. But it's like, you never know who can be touched by your cause. Another thing that we're looking at is a community yard sale in the summer. We're going to go to like a flea market in Maryland. We're trying to have them like these fundraisers. We're in the DMV area. So to have one in DC, to have one in Maryland, to have one in Virginia. So we're having like a flea market where everybody's bringing all their stuff, and all the profits can go to incentives for our clients. Sometimes medication costs, we cover that as well. So all the profits that we get go back into the community, because, you know, to get people engaged in care, sometimes it takes a little bit, like a little incentive to the grocery store. If they're not getting their essential needs taken care of, they're not caring about their health. So our job is to make sure they take care of their health, to keep in sustainable care. So all the profits really go toward that, and testing and supporting our other programs. So the next thing is the auction raffle dinner, which Frank attended. So we learned a lot. That was the first time I had thrown an auction, with Miss Heidi as helping me out as well, and my team that's here today. And then a third thing we've been talking about is the restaurant and give back days, which is like Chipotle and Barnes and Nobles. I had volunteered at an organization that had a Barnes and Noble day, and they made about $3,000. You take a day during Christmas, you wrap presents, and any percentage of the profit can go back to your organization. Next slide. again, like I said, the messaging is to keep it authentic. A lot of people like, oh, you know, community health, you could say community health and all this stuff, and it's great, but like tell the stories, be out there, like be authentic in your messaging, because that's what's going to touch people. That's what's going to get people to donate. And then I think it's like what I've seen too is when I've been talking to a lot of the partners, when I do the work and I'm going in the community with the team, they really appreciate those touchbacks, like what you're actually doing. They really love to hear that. They want to know where their money's going to. So if you're having a dinner and you have those connections with your project officers, they may be also willing to tell people about what you're doing and support. We've had that happen as well. Oh, I'm going to tell this person to sign up and sponsor your run. I'm going to tell this person, because they're connected with you. So it's important to be communicative. Like just because you get the grant, don't just stay silent. Talk to your project officer, talk to the people on the other end. Next slide. Again, here's our 5K, 5,000, and we want to make 20,000 this year. Last year we made 10. It's very repeatable. It builds the, this was last year's pictures, the visibility. Here we have like a nurses association. They came because they heard about us and they wanted to do this run because it supports health equity. So it was a great time. And then we take a lot of cool pictures and meet a lot of great people when they learn about HBI. It was really cold that day too. It was in December. I could barely talk. Next slide. And so now I'm going to introduce Heidi Denny. So the one thing I've noticed is, like I said, you have to have kind of like that dedicated person, because I'm so involved with the programs with the team, a dedicated person to work with myself and the board. And so we have a board liaison, which is our CFO, Chief Edwin. He's not here today, but what Heidi does is she's our fundraising coordinator. So she's the one that's thinking about the community market, was her idea, the 5K, bringing all that together again. And it's important. She's also a community health worker. She's from the state of Maryland. She was the project lead for project manager for the ADRD when we did Alzheimer's and dementia related diseases project in the state. So she's perfect because she knows what HBI is. She knows what the CHWs do. And so she's the perfect person to, number one, go out and network as well, but also, you know, bring those fundraisers together. So I'm happy to pass it off to Heidi, who will talk about the Hula for Health.
Thank you. Okay, the idea for this fundraiser was given to us by a board member who basically gave us an outline and then left us to do it on our own. So yeah, we were given the idea and the general outline, and then we had to initiate it from beginning to end. So one thing we learned, it's important to clarify roles and confirm commitments early, and then to make sure the people designated in those roles are trained to do it appropriately so there's no surprises. And then a small amount of money was raised, and partially because we were trying to auction these trips that are in this poster. And to do that, we needed someone to put the trips up for us as a money-making, you know, agenda for them. But then we had to do all the work to sell them. So the return did not equal the amount of work we had to put into it. And there was another fundraiser we looked into before the community sale. And again, it was donations of clothes, but the amount in the end that you had to donate did not equal the profit that they would gain from it. So you have to be really careful of organizations that want to help nonprofits to read the fine print and know what you're getting into before doing it. And Bishops is a great partner because with them, it's worth what we're giving them. So it, you know, we still make money off of it. So sometimes it takes the experience of doing it to find out, but the more information you have in the beginning, knowing what you're getting into is very important. And then also understand your audience so that you know that what you're offering are things that people can afford, whether it be raffle items or auction items. So thank you.
And I also want to say that this auction, and we did well, but I think it's like, I was telling Heidi right before we came on this call that we did it as an auction, but it was a fantastic raffle dinner. And so that's what we're going to stick with. That's the magic formula, is the raffle dinner. I also think it was the times, like people were getting laid off. We're in DC, so in the Virginia, Maryland area, people were getting laid off left and right. So many people like weren't wanting to contribute. It was just that, you know, we had to read the environment. But next time, I think we are going to stick with the raffle dinner. It is manageable. People wanted to donate. We wrote a bunch of people. And then also our board members were very active in getting, you know, donations for the raffle. So I think moving forward, that would work best with our organization. And also, like, it's manageable. I mean, we had Jennifer Galdames, who was in charge of the food, and she had connections for the catering and for the bartender. And then we actually got the location for free in our building. So sometimes, like, people in your board may know somewhere where you can have, like, you could have it at a clubhouse, and then they may have a connection there. So just getting the food that's affordable. If you want to have a bartender, you don't want to have a bartender, it's up to you. He gave us a discount. And then the performers, we wanted to be, you know, appropriate for them, you know, for Hula for Health. So we had the hula dancers, but then actually some of our staff performed because they had those talents. So it was really a great, I think, experience, a learning experience. This is something that will stay with HBI. We may change the theme because we'll be 20 years old next year. We're going to celebrate our 20th anniversary in October. So we may change it a bit, but I think, like, I'm grateful for the team that put it together. And like I said, it is manageable. All you need is, like, people to invite your sponsors, and then also, like, food that is, you know, a buffet style. And then if you want a DJ or now play your own music, and then just make it a great time, because at the end of the day, you know, we're all wanting to give back to the community. Thank you so much. Here's a picture from our leadership team during the hula. Thanks.
And one thing too, it helped engage the board. When I came on as the board liaison, the board wasn't very active, and now suddenly through Sandra and Edwin and hopefully our new chair with Tiffany, yeah, it will get better and better from here. Thank you all.
Yes, thank you. Before we turn to Mara, yeah, so as has been mentioned, I was able to attend the Hula for Health, and it was great. Like, it was totally, it was like the right vibe for a Friday in May in DC. And it was also just one of those that, like, you walk in, you get a lay, and then it's like, oh yeah, here's this nice, spread of, like, good smelling food, and, like, the DJ's bumping, there's the bar, and it's like, all right, yeah, I'm glad I skipped the happy hour for this. And then, like, they had one of the musical guests was this brother or sister duo who were, like, what, 9 and 12, or like
Yeah,
11 and 15. I mean, they were young,
the
and
Denise siblings.
yeah, and they were just, I mean, they were rocking out. Like, legitimately, the saxophone on this was just like, all right. So, I didn't necessarily have, like, expectations, but they definitely, like, it was such a like a low-key, chill, fun, good vibe event, if that makes sense. And I was legitimately bummed to not win some of my raffle offerings. I mean, there were some really, really cool raffle things. One of the board members made, like, silk headbands that my daughter would have loved. There was this great, like, ficus tree, or something similar, and it was just one of those, like, it was actually, like, cool stuff you wanted to win. And I remember going back and being like, I think I want some more raffle tickets to, like, throw into that. Like, I would love to come home with that tonight. So it was, for being a first event and having to overcome some of the barriers you did. It was like it was a great vibe, and really appreciate you coming in and talking through kind of how others can do that, because it really, it is doable for others to pick up and run with. All right, let's hear from Mara, who will talk about how easy galas are.
Yes, of course. Thank you, Sandra and Heidi. That was a wonderful presentation, and kind of will touch on some of that stuff too, of it is true to work to your strengths, and to kind of find what works for you as an organization, because everything that I say today might not work for you as an organization. It might. So I'm just going to introduce myself. My name is Mara Delaney. I am the events manager here at the foundation. So I am in charge of the 4 signature events that we do here at the Blumberg Institute, the Hepatitis B Foundation, and the Pennsylvania Biotechnology Center. And one of those events is our annual gala, which is typically in spring, in April, in the greater Philadelphia area. So our 2026 gala is on April 10th, if anyone would like to join us. So overall, just kind of a snapshot of our gala, because I really want you guys to remember and look at this of a lens that we have been doing this for 25 years. And it began in 2000 with about 70 attendees. So everything has been leading up to this, and everything is years of venue selection, years of staff and knowledge kind of that we've had to build to this wonderful, like Frank was talking about, seated, plated, 300-person gala. So throughout the evening of this gala, we do give 2 awards, which is our Community Leadership Award and our Baruch S. Blumberg Award. So both of those awards started in 2011 and 2012, respectively. So the Community Leadership Award is given to a community member who has been a strong advocate for the foundation or for those living with hepatitis B and their support systems. And then the Baruch S. Blumberg Award is dedicated to an important scientific or medical contribution to finding a cure for hepatitis B or its related diseases. So we're kind of acknowledging everyone involved in our community, kind of those that are leading us in the public health space and also leading us in the research space, as we do have our research arm, the Baruch S. Blumberg Institute. So all of this grows to about $100,000 raised on that night in April. So that is our net value. So we do spend quite a bit of money as well, and we do spend quite a bit of staff time. So the fundraising opportunity is there, but again, as I said, we have 5 full-time staff members that are dedicated to this from pretty much December to April. That is pretty much our job. I believe Joe Eckert is on here today as well. He is our Chief Development Officer. So we have our events team and our development team that our full-time job pretty much for about 4 months is the gala. And then throughout all of that, we also have about 10 additional staff, about 25 on-site staff that are there day of, just kind of assisting. And as Frank said, he was also one of those volunteers in the past 3 years to come for the night. But all of this throughout 25 years of growing to bring up to this wonderful gala that we have in April. So this is kind of our planning timeline. And if you look at the bottom, those are actually the night of our gala. So that's the venue that we have at the Warrington Country Club. So kind of, I feel like, Sandra, you touched on this a little bit. Find your why of the night of, is this kind of an event that you want it to be just to bring supporters together? Do you want to just fundraise with individuals? Do you want to just educate? Of what is your why for the night, and kind of where do you want that vibe to go? Do you want it to be a looser? Do you want it to be a formal sit-down dinner? Is there more of a focus on entertainment? Or is there a focus on an award presentation as we have? That definitely makes our program longer. So really keep an eye on that, because we found about 4 years ago, I would say, we started getting a lot of feedback that our program was just entirely too long. So we've really been trying to keep that in mind of people do want to go and they want to have a good time and they want to socialize. Like Frank was saying, you show up to that night and you're there to create a vibe. So in the past, we've always had our entertainment was Tumbling Dice, which is a casino event company, and they bring casino games and tables to the event. And then people play casino games throughout the evening. This year we switched to dueling pianos, and if anyone needs that contact, please let me know, because they were fantastic, super fun entertainment. So you have 2 performers playing dueling pianos, and then people have to bid to get their song played, and then any donation that they bid, we get to collect at the end of the night. We did have to pay dueling pianos out, but then we collected those tips at the end of the night. We had Dr. Bob Gish actually even donated $1,000 just to hear from some Dua Lipa. So just getting that crowd involved and making sure you know your why and your vibe of the night. So that's about 12 to 9 months out, is defining that purpose, that goal, that why of the night. And then really securing that date and venue is a huge thing for us, especially because we do early spring, which is a very large wedding time of year, if that's the type of venue that you're looking for. So we have been at the Warrington Country Club for the past 5 years. So a lot of our staff time and work is cut down because this is just a well-oiled machine with us in the Warrington. We don't have to do venue research. We don't have to do catering research. We have all of that at the Warrington, and it is just the luxury of kind of having history with them. So that's about our 12 to 9 month out range. And then we move to 9 to 6 months out. We're identifying key vendors. That is everything from our florist to our baker, because we get a nice big cake made, anything from additional entertainment, and then begin booking those details. But like I said, a lot of this research and past staff work has been done in the past years. So the big thing at 9 to 6 months out is silent auction and sponsor solicitation. So both of you kind of touched on that as well, of how sponsor solicitation and engaging relationships is a huge part of making sure that these events are run smoothly, because there is someone that does need to pay for the event to go on so that you can then enjoy the event and fundraise that night. So as I said, we're 25 years in the making, which means a lot of relationships have been built, and all of our sponsor solicitation and silent auction solicitation is a bit of a year over year. We're always growing those relationships, and we're always growing our pipeline, but it is kind of a very established process. So our sponsor solicitation begins with our sponsorship prospectus getting remade for the year based on feedback that we got from sponsors, based on sponsorship levels. As you said, Sandra, as well, there was kind of a lull in DC in that year, kind of looking at the general economic environment and seeing, do we need to change our sponsorship levels? Do we know that people aren't going to be coming in at these higher levels this year? So we do that about 9 to 6 months out, develop that around October of the year before. And then that is sent to all past year sponsors, start really having those conversations again, especially before the end of the year. Another big note is really get people before the end of the calendar year and before the end of the fiscal year, if you're looking at those sponsors for year over year. And then also kind of, is there any special touch that you can put on your sponsorship prospectus this year? So we had stations at our gala this year, which highlighted our public health work. So you could be a sponsor of a specific station. So Inception was a sponsor for the storytellers. So what can we change every year that is really highlighting that year? And if anyone needs to, I can share our sponsorship perspective if you need a copy of like kind of what to do and how to recreate it. So the last big thing, 9 to 6 months out, like I said, our two big lifts at this time are starting our silent auction solicitation. So that is, as you said, a huge lift, especially if you're looking for items that you really think people would want. And it does have good return, but it is a lot of staff time. And creating those good partners, like Heidi was talking about sometimes they'll just leave you in the dust and you have to send just a vacation package that you owe them for, or you have to sell yourself. So we typically end up with about 45 baskets in our auction, and then 5 art pieces or some just general pottery, and then about 2 to 3 raffle items that are used throughout the night. Those baskets range anything from, you can see in the bottom right here, all that beer and kind of a brewery night, or some sort of vacation, some sort of stay at a hotel in New York, and some Broadway tickets. And then that we also build an online bidding platform. So this is a lot of staff lift. We have all of our staff members, public health team, facilities team, everyone. We provide with a template of an email and a template of a letter and say, please help. So it is board members, it is everyone soliciting these packages, and it's a great thing to come together, but it is a lot of staff work. So then we kind of move into the new year. So about 6 to 3 months out, we start also in my timeline, I'm thinking of April being the gala. So when I say move into the new year, I say about January. we send our invites out. So we do still send formal printed invitations, and that goes to a list of about 300 people. It is a nice day. We do like a gala stuffing here at the foundation. We have a little staff party. We get food and drinks, and then we just stuff all of these envelopes and send them out. But again, a lot of a lift. So this also means kind of at this point, your ticket sales page and the event website needs to be updated. So we have a platform called Events Air, and that's how we make our ticket sales page. And then we have a specific hepbgala.org website. So that is outside of our hepb.org. So if you would like to have a specific event website, just make sure that's updated as the invites go out. And then finally, about 3 to 1 month out, we start really kind of switching to preparing all the physical items that are going to be there that night of the gala. So our marketing communications team, which is 3 individuals, they create the program book. This ends up being about a 20-page book when it comes all and done with all the letters and awards and then sponsorship ads. So we're crafting the seating chart. We're doing site visits with the Warrington to pick linen colors and create day of logistics. And then a big lift is our run of show and our gala script. So we have that all formally written out for everyone involved. Again, I think you guys kind of mentioned on it too, but being flexible is another big thing that comes with this. So invited elected officials are always going to be something that is up in the air. So that's something that I will say is a huge tentative that's always on our run of show. So kind of having that flexible program and having that flexibility of, are we switching to people that need to talk because someone's coming 20 minutes later? But that run of show and making sure every staff member is aware of what's happening that night so everyone can run smoothly and someone is meeting someone at a door and pulling them inside. So that kind of brings us to the night of. So the night of, like I said, we have about 25 staff members simply on site to help. We have a wonderful time too, but we are on site to help to set up. So this is kind of our checklist of the night of. What printed materials do we need? We have a full run of show with our only staff assignments, an MC script, and then all of our physical items. That's another really big lift to consider. Of 2 days before the gala, we have about 6 or 7 cars that drive everything to the Warrington Country Club. We deliver everything, all of our silent auction items. We have display sheets there on the day of, any type of QR code for donating. And then kind of VIP schmoozing. Who do you need to talk to that night? That's what our staff are on site for of that night. And we actually do have, people assigned to talk to certain individuals. Who you're going to be sitting with at your table is very strategic, and how you can have those conversations that night of to ensure that we're set up for success, like Sandra was talking about, of talking about the work that you're doing, because that's what they want to hear about and that's what they're there for the night. So sharing those one-on-one stories and that actual hands-on work is important for our staff to be there and speak about. So we used to also do an in-person fundraising or live ask, and the logistics of that is a lot. And we have received feedback that just sometimes it's not as well received to physically be there and have that ask. I think as you guys were talking about of the raffle, and Frank mentioned on it too, of like, people get excited when there's something that they can get to. So kind of having that exchange is a little bit better for the fundraising perspective. But this is our night of here at the gala. And then each staff member is just kind of prepped. We do a night of staff meeting, and then we get on our way of the 4-hour gala. So this was all of our staff here that was present at the 2025 gala. And thank you all so much for the opportunity to present today. And I can also drop my email in the chat if anyone wants to just connect with me. Frank has my contact information too. But I look forward to the Q&A.
Thank you, Mara. So I do know we have one question, but I'm gonna expand on a few things you mentioned. So one, as Mara mentioned, it is our gala is all hands on deck. So it's everyone in the foundation, the like 15 or so of us, plus others over at Blumberg and PABC. And part of how they, as the events team, make sure we all have the information we need is one, they make us attend a like gala briefing, both like in January and then again closer to the actual gala. And then they also come on at least once a month to one of our weekly like all staff calls and like hold us hostage for 20 minutes and like be like, all right, we sent you the script, we sent you the template, we sent you who to reach out to, we sent you their contact information.
Call people
You
out.
just
Frank, how did that
you
conversation go?
I mean, I myself had to get called out, so that's I'll admit. But yeah, I mean, it very much was like, all right, we're doing almost all the work for you. You have to get, the last little bit across the finish line. So that is one thing to consider as you're in any sort of event of like, if you want to leverage your staff, make it to where like you're voluntelling them, but doing it in a way where you've supported them in the being voluntold. Something else is to consider is that Gala Day is a marathon, not a sprint. So it is a 14 to 16 hour day for almost everyone involved. So I'm on the public health side, so I'll make sure I'm up. I'm usually up the night before, but whoever we're awarding those awards to that evening, they tend to have time at the foundation the day of that they're doing a like a talk as well as meeting with different teams. And so we have an actual like 7 to 8 hour work day, normal 9 to 5 on that Friday, and then like drop into gala close, get over to Warrington and support event staff for everything else. And then to Mara's point of we all have sort of our assignments. Our assignments vary depending on the time of the gala. So this last gala, I was to be in the like VIP room, and then I was to schmooze a certain table, and then post table I was to be at the like advocacy booth in order to help sort of like answer questions on that, and then tear down. So it really is like we are assigned our different things depending what's happening, and then to the last point of what Mara was saying. It takes them several carloads to get things to the Warrington the days ahead of time. But then that night, like as soon as the gala is done, we have to get it all out. And so that also means like make sure you bring a change of clothes and not, because you don't want to try to carry things in heels and like just some of these things that, you get to the very end of the night, you're like, oh my goodness, why am I walking barefoot through a parking lot? So it really is like it is a heavy lift across the board. And then ready set auction. Yes, thank you. Donor Perfect for donor tracking. And then what's your ticket?
Events Air,
Sales?
yes.
Events Air.
So
Okay.
we used to use Donor Perfect because that is what we use for donations. And the event platform on there is not very intuitive. It's very hard to track physical ticket sales. So we switched to Events Air and it's fantastic. You can do your table layout in Events Air. You can do any type of dietary, any type of pretty much anything you need. Events Air is great. Yes, we use Events Air for our ticket sales.
Something else I wanted to note is that even though the foundation has been doing this for 25 years, the gala really does change from year to year. So, the shift from casino to dueling pianos is one, but the sort of individual stations this year with storytelling and advocacy and public health was an idea around, maybe we can go and get some donations for these specific programs that don't necessarily have like set funding, that maybe we can get some donations instead of having to fund those things out of general operating. And I'm not sure how well that necessarily worked, but we wanted to give it a try. And maybe it didn't work in that setting, but I wanted to say to Heidi and Sandra, your linking of some of the like restaurant fundraising days specifically to having funds be raised for incentives is like brilliant, because incentives, food, and research are like the three things that federal folks don't like funding. And so, I want to come out and support your fundraiser anyway, but like the second I know that it's not just supporting you, but it's so you can go and give one of the best practices of engagement we know of in public health, oh heck yeah, like now I'm gonna go and spend time to get 5 other friends there as well, because I know that like our burgers are actually gonna have like not just some sort of great amorphous impact on HBI, but like a very specific impact on a program of need. What are some of the other changes we did this year, Mara? We had the names up on the wall. Like
Yes, our wall of recognition. So we do our pledged fundraising, our pledged donations before the night of go on the wall of recognition, which is IKEA shelves, but nice shelves that we put like we print their names out and frame them, and your giving level corresponds to how big your frame is. And then that wall of recognition throughout the night, you can get your name added as well. But we really try to make it pre-commitments because they look really nice and we can do them. But yes, our wall of recognition is new in the past 2 years, but this year it was definitely the best. But yeah, I like that point that you made, Frank, of yes, it's been 25 years, but we're still constantly trying to breathe new life in it. And it does change every year.
yeah, and we went from having seated like plates delivered
Oh
to
yeah,
us
we
into a
switched to
buffet
buffet this
style.
year too.
It was a great
So
shift.
yeah, changing it up here. Um, so we used to have plated dinners, chicken, fish, split plate. And then this year we did buffet style, which we thought went much better. And we're gonna stick to that.
The problem with the buffet style this year is that all the food looked so great and you could get all of it that you ended up like questioning if you're going back for another plate, if you're trying to pile it on. I mean, I wish I was joking, but like we had like 8 stations of different
Yeah,
styles
we
of
did.
food, and there wasn't a bad like there wasn't one to sneeze at in the group. So are there other questions that folks want to drop into the chat, or Sandra and Heidi, additional things you wanted to flag from your event at HBI?
I wanted to just say about the food, like we didn't have any food left. Like Jennifer, make sure you get the food, and we ordered extra. The food was gone. The only thing that there was is liquor and cake. So afterwards, but everybody got a chance to eat. But like Jennifer had even got me a little plate. She says, "You haven't eaten anything," as I was going around. So they're like, "I'm gonna put a side of food there." And when I went, it just was completely. So make sure there's plenty of food. I even told her get extra food because they were just getting for a certain number, but I said just get it, and it was just gone. Food was for over 100 people, so
Oh wow, okay. Well, and
yeah, everybody
I
ate like doubles people got.
it was really good food. I don't know
Yeah,
like if you catered if it was if it was a catering company or you
yeah,
catered from an existing restaurant that does catering,
a
but like
restaurant.
that restaurant makes really good food.
Yeah.
Uh, your decorations though, like where did you guys find those for like dressing up the walls, all the little like tinsel and stuff?
So I think like some of it came from the trade company. What was it? The Oriented Art. It's the artsy company. It's called
Oriental trading.
Oriental Trading, and then also Amazon. They went on Amazon to look for something affordable so that we can cover the walls. So it was good. I mean, the decorations were not expensive at all. I would say they would be total maybe about less than, I mean, under 100. It might have been even 50, like for the stuff on the walls. It was not, it was very cheap.
And Oriental Trading, if you go on and fill out their donation form, they'll give you $25 towards the towards the decorations.
Yeah, and so I think that's like an important note is you don't have to go and get like super fancy things. I mean, we mentioned IKEA shelves and Amazon.
I mean, even like I think Chosun got like this is gonna sound funny, but it's not meant to be pineapple. You just put pineapple on the table and you just buy it, and that's it because it's and then just like decorate with streamers. So we really didn't spend a lot on the decorations. It was mostly like the food, which is it was reasonable. I mean, I would have to say, the food came out to be for everything was about 1,200. And
Okay.
that's not bad for all those
No.
people. I was like expecting it to be more, but no. And then the alcohol was donated, and then the DJ was donated. So then basically
And the
everything
space.
else, yeah, and the space, and then the staff is HBI. So you know, the spaces. So there's how you save it, is pretty much the donations. Like somebody might say, oh, how can I help? They might not want to do a sponsor, but they'll say, I'll pay for the DJ, or I'll pay for the alcohol, I'll get the cake. Someone else donated the cake. So it just depends. Like people just want to chip in for party and just to help the community too. So
There was you all had and this is for everyone else's sake, different sort of like photo accoutrements. So like, you know, on the stick with like the sunglasses or
yeah.
you know, silly hats. And again, like those were things, you know, you kind of just see normally at a party store. But it just, you know, in the vibe of the night of some live dancing and like, you know, seeing and it would have been fun just with dancing anyway, but to have staff go up there and be like, all right, we're going to show you a traditional hula, like
Yes.
you're both in awe, but also a little bit chuckling. I mean, they're putting themselves out there. So it really, like, it was laid back, but it was like you could tell all the effort and energy put into it, but it was also one of those like, oh hey, they're not blowing the bank to run this event. They're actually doing it in a really smart way. And you could just tell, like, it's like, oh, they put this together, it's fun, but it's also not like you don't question being like, are they going to make any money on this? It's more of a like, oh, I see how they're keeping, you know, how they're making this a fundraiser.
Yeah, and then we also, you know, we also did 2 awards, which is an award to thank the Alzheimer's Association. They were coming for free to educate community members. We also did the Peer to Power Award, which is the CHWs who have been under for 2 years. And we, you know, honored Alicia and Michael for their work with peers, and then now their linkage to care. And Alicia's doing rapid testing already, so she's really evolved into the different role. So, I mean, we made it like a celebration, but at the same time, you hear like the work we do and even like the legacy, because we had Jennifer there who'd been with HPI for close to 20 years, talking about how she's helped HPI communities. And then you had Michael helping people in the shelter. So it was great to see that, you know, see it all come together. And I think it felt more like a house party than it did like a formal thing. But yeah, we had a great time. So I
That
really liked it a lot.
that's actually a really good point. I and we'll get to the question in the chat in just a second. So Mara had mentioned that we used to do a like direct fundraising ask, and then we got feedback that that wasn't just great. And part of that is because by the time you're to the gala, you have dropped some money to get your seats. Whereas the Hula for Health, the cost to get in the door was much lower,
Mhm.
and the vibe is more like a house party. And so if you were, you know, much like a house party, if you were having to be like, all right, y'all, this got like out of hand, you all want to chip in $10 and we can order, you know, more pizzas or whatever. You know, I think a house party vibe or kind of a lower key vibe, it's okay to make that hard ask of folks to make a donation because they haven't kind of put up to get in the door.
Mhm.
Whereas on something that is a longer program where you really are doing a table sponsorship or something else where, you know, things to get into 4 digits potentially, you know, it then might be like, well, dude, we gave you like how much to get in here? And like we flew in from where? Like you're asking us for more money?
Mhm.
So, Ivory had a question. How is sponsorship? Are you seeing a diverse group of sponsors or mainly pharma companies? And we'll start with Heidi and Sandra and then we can go
So
from there.
for us, like we had some sponsorship. Usually, you know, we work with a couple companies that pharmaceutical companies, and they know our work. So, but you know how it is with pharmaceutical, you can put the little ask in their hole, but you need to have a connection within the company. So we were kind of fortunate to have them, you know, just reach out. They do more support for our 5K than the sponsorship of the auction. What really helped was like those small local businesses, specifically like our work with Hepatitis B in Asian and Pacific Islander communities. And then actually one of our board members, Dr. Ha, she works for GW and she actually was an HBI volunteer. And then now she's on our board. So she's able to connect with small businesses that maybe if they're like API businesses, they're connected to somebody that has had hepatitis B or even hepatitis D. So it's been, you know, connecting there and just finding like, how does this, they want to know well, what am I going to get out of this? So just you guys partying now, it's like they want to give back. And like I said, all the money goes back to the community, like nothing. And that's how it is because like, you know, the extra cost that it takes to get people in care, but like to support the other initiatives too. So yeah, it just, that's pharmaceutical. If you want pharmaceutical, they'll do it. But I think in the pharmaceutical companies, it's one ask for a year. They're not going to sponsor all our events. I wish they would, but they
Yeah.
won't. So it's the big ask, and then you go there and they'll do it, but it would just really, I see it for one event. And then, you know, if you have your board, maybe just on asking those small businesses, like we had State Farm donate, we had a flower shop, we had Full 57, which is like, you know, donating too. So it was great. And then we had Grubbs Pharmacy too. So people you wouldn't think, ask them, because they'll sponsor you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
some,
oh, sorry.
or-
Go ahead.
some organizations have community foundations, so it's good to recognize who has those and reach out to them.
Yeah, going off of kind of what Sandra said with the small businesses, and a big thing is like meet them where they can. And we have obviously our high level sponsorships, but we also have, you can be just purchase an ad in our program book. That's a super easy way to get exposure for them and for us. It doesn't cost much money. But I would say, yes, we do see a lot of pharma and a lot of banks, and yeah, they want those tax write-offs. But a lot of bank sponsorships, a lot of law firms. And then like Sandra said, of board members, where do your board members work? Who can they ask? Yeah, working on connections, but we do see mostly law firms and then pharma.
So we're on our last few minutes, and I do promise to have us wrapped on time. One sort of last thing I wanted to flag around using your staff as support for your event. So it's twofold. One, I've seen this both at our gala and I saw it at Hula for Health. Using that kind of event to do a public shout out for members of your staff. So we honored our president, Sherry Cohen, for her 25 years of service at the gala this year. And then Sandra and Heidi, I know you had folks that you called out, positively called out from HBI at the event as well. So do consider that as like a, hey, you know, you can also spend, you know, talking about a person. It could just be 2 or 3 minutes of your program. So it's not really hijacking it by any means, but it is a great honor for them. And then lastly, depending on what kind of you're able to offer, this year they are, for our gala team, worked with our management and said to staff that the staff person who helps sell the most like ad space in our gala book could get an extra like PTO day. So if you have little things or incentives you can go as a competition within your staff, you know, consider that as well for trying to do like auction outreach, ad sales, things like that, because you know, it's very well that you could drum up more sales than what, you know, one extra PTO day costs you or whatnot. So just a little friendly competition among the staff. So
That'd be great.
yeah. So I know my colleague Mara just popped off. She warned that she had a hard stop, but we are right at the hour, and I just want to give another big thanks to Health Betterment Initiative, not Hepatitis B Initiative. I will get that. I will forever be embarrassed now and not mess it up again.
No, don't. I think it's, you know, that's our foundation's Hepatitis B. We're so grateful to have the support, but also we actually, you know, got more support for Hep B testing. So it's no problem. We're HBI. So there you go.
We rebranded and didn't tell you.
Oh no, you guys did. You guys did. I gotta break the habit. So thank you so much for sharing your knowledge with our partners, those who attended live and those who are gonna view this as recording. And really just, you know, anyone has future questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. And our next Be Informed session will be on September 16th. So thank you again and have a great rest of your day, all.
Yeah, thank you for inviting us. I learned things too, so it was very beneficial.
Yeah, oh, yeah, absolutely. I did as well. I'd already heard both you guys and Mara run through things, but seeing it all come together still picked up some additional new items. So
Yeah, well, it's good to know where to start too with like, yeah, for ticket sales and auction and yeah, Dinner Perfect. We're still figuring all those things out. So thank you for sharing that information with us as well.
yeah, and if you or others have questions like about any of those aspects, please do reach out to me or Shreya or Mara directly, because we are happy to share any of the technical assistance we can.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you guys.
Yeah, you're very welcome.
Thank you so much.
All right, have a great rest of your day, all.
You too. Bye.
Bye.